How to become a software developer. There's three routes: self-taught, bootcamp, and university. The path is for you to choose. I'm Cosmic Contender, a professional software developer and a hobbyist YouTuber and game developer. Why does my opinion matter? Well, I tried all three of these routes. I first started out with schooling, then went the self-taught route after I got my associate's degree, tried to get a job. I ended up getting a QA role for Microsoft, and after that, I did a boot camp to better position myself for a developer job. I got an internship, and then as I got hired on, I finished my degree online. I felt like my opinion matters because I gave my best with all these approaches. I want to give some statistics of employed software developers. 73% of developers have a degree, 20% of that is a master's, and 62% of those degrees are in computer science, meaning that 38% are from people that have learned coding on their own and or through boot camp. But this also means that 27% of developers are either self-taught or boot camp graduates. And so we're going to focus on the self-taught and boot camp graduates first. So self-taught has some pros. It's self-paced. You get to learn what you want to, ish. And then it's basically free. You can pay for courses, but there's tons of free content out there to be able to learn and access and to be able to understand the ins and outs of how to code and how to use certain languages. And cons are there's no direction. It's difficult to stay on task. Networking is difficult, and you don't get a degree from this option. Bootcamp, also you don't get a degree through that, but you have a course-paced environment. It's structured and has direction, and you have a network of people helping you land a job. Most boot camps will have, after you graduate the boot camp, will have recruiters trying to get you recruited for a software developer job to justify why they exist. They promise that after the 3 months to 6 months that the boot camp was, that they'll place you in a job. And this is just to justify that the money that you're paying them gets you into that position. The problem is boot camps cost money, and they're continually getting more and more expensive. So you need to figure out, is it worth the money I'm paying to get a job for these boot camps? It's cheaper than college, so it might be. But another problem is the tech stack you're learning through that boot camp might not be related to that job market you're working in. And that's something you need to research on your own to see if the tech stack in wherever place you're living or wanting to live, to work, is related to the technologies that you're learning at that boot camp. Again, it doesn't provide a degree. The degrees matter because as you're applying to jobs, you can get filtered out on your resume if you're blindly applying to jobs, because companies will see that you don't have a degree and they'll just throw you aside. That's just how it is. It's kind of stupid because in the end of the day, programming and being a software developer is more about skill sets rather than whether or not you have a piece of paper. So let's talk about university. University costs money, so do not overpay for that piece of paper. On average, it costs $104,000 over the 4 years of getting a degree. So don't put yourself in debt for the perks of university X, Y, and Z. There's certain reasons to go to university, and it's to get an education. It's not about having fun. It's about being able to provide yourself that knowledge early on in your life to better position yourself for the future. Now, this is why I suggest to look for cheaper options. Go to community college. Community college each year is under $2,000 a year on average in the United States. And doing this will be able to cut your costs for your degree by half, at least. There's potential of being able to go to another university on scholarship and also just cheaper universities overall. So really look out for that and try to minimize the cost of getting your degree if you choose this path. Now, do professors help you? In my experience, in person, professors are not going to help you as much as you would hope. The reason for this is because we as software developers need to learn how to problem solve on our own. And so part of being able to be a developer is being able to Google properly, being able to see a problem, understand the error, and resolve that error on our own. That's real world experience. So professors will likely point you in the right direction, but they want you to come to the solution on your own. But which will get you a job? Now, this is super important. My answer is they will not get you a job. Each of these paths will not get you a job. Being self-taught will not get you a job. Going to a boot camp will not get you a job. Going to university will not get you a job. Now, that's not 100% true what I'm saying, but just doing those isn't going to guarantee that you get a job. What's going to guarantee that you get a job is that you know how to be a proper developer, that you know the tech stack that you put on your resume, that you have portfolios that reflect that. And as you continue to grow your developer experience, that will push you above the rest. And you're going to see that the junior developer roles are going to be harder and harder to get into because the market is going to be flooded more and more as bootcamp graduates come out and university graduates. And this is because most companies want more experienced developers because they don't want to pay for training developers. They'd rather be able to get applications out the door as fast and as quickly as possible. So how do we fix this? Ultimately, network, network, network. This will help you get a job over anything else. It doesn't matter how good you are if companies don't know who you are. So find someone that is a software developer, find someone that's a tech recruiter, find anyone that is close to you in your network and reach out to them, figure out what your job market needs, what companies want, and tailor your resume and your skill sets to that, to those wants and needs. Companies will end up caring less how good you are. As long as they know that you can do the job, they'll hire you since they know who you are, rather than maybe someone that's even better than you, but they just don't know who they are that well. So that's super important. These soft skills of networking, being able to be relatable to other people is super important. And software developers get this stereotype that they're very introverted, and that can be true. But try to stretch outside your bubble, reach out to people, and they will help position you in the right place at the right time. That's how I got my internship, is through a family friend. We found we knew someone that worked at this company, and we wanted to see if there's any openings, and they got me on as an intern, and I've been there ever since. So now which option is best? Which road should you go down? University, bootcamp, self-taught? Well, the answer is it just depends. But I will say the easiest route is university. Why? Because it's structured. And also, if you're blindly applying to jobs, having that degree will be one less thing that will get your resume thrown out. And as you saw, 73% of developers have a degree. And so statistically, you're probably more likely to get a job since people that are employed have a degree. But that does not justify that having a degree is the end all be all. There are other routes. Bootcamp and self-taught are very important. So as you want to decide which road you're going to pick, I'd ask yourself these questions. Is this a good return on investment? So is going to university, is the money I'm paying a good return on investment? And if it is, then go for it. I went to university for free. I shouldn't say for free, debt free. I paid for my associate's degree, and then I was able to get fast-footed pay for my bachelor's degree, which I did in a year and a half. I got it done as fast as I could. And through that, I was able to get a great return on my investment. Then I would also want you to look at, do I like my local job market's popular tech stack? So in the market I work in, Java and C Sharp are very prominent on the back end. And coming from a Node.js background and a PHP background, it was really hard for me to find anything backend related. But I did have experience in React. I adopted to being able to learn Vue.js very well, and that really got me pushed forward in the career I am in right now. So figure out what your job market needs, learn those technologies, and grow as fast as you can in them. Some other questions you should ask if you're wanting to go as a self-taught route or even the bootcamp route is if you're a self-starter. Boot camps are going to be able to help guide you a little bit, but it's just so much going on. You're constantly learning every day, 8 hours a day, and being a self-starter will be able to put you above the rest. Going through self-taught, you're going to be able to be disciplined and be able to do certain tasks, maybe 2 hours every day, and you'll slowly learn over the course of maybe 6 months to a year and be able to put yourself in that position to be a great software developer. Ask yourself, do you need guidance? Boot camps are great for guide and will help guide you, but university ultimately will have the more resources for guidance. Ask, am I patient? Being a software developer, you need patience in general because you're going to run into annoying errors that end up just being the stupidest and most simple issues that you could have fixed if you just were a little bit more patient and done it simpler and easier. Then ask yourself, does my college, university, boot camp provide the languages in my area? Then that might justify wanting to go to that boot camp or university. Also, check out for local coffee and codes, hackathons, and meetups. These are networking events with local software developers and project managers and product managers. These people will help position you in the right areas, point you in the right direction on what you need to learn, and to be able to help you attain a job in that job market that you are located in. Now, you can try to work remote, and working remote is great, especially if you're a self-starter, because you can really get a lot of work done and not get bogged down by having to go to the office every day. But I would strongly try to look for your local needs in your job market rather than stretching out as a junior developer to get a remote job because everyone wants a remote job. It's going to make it 10 times harder to get that remote job. Lastly, ask yourself this question: do I know a local software developer? I put this here because that's your first step. Reach out to someone if you're interested in becoming a software developer. Reach out to someone that you know that is, and ask them questions. Ask them, do they like their job? Do they How much of their day is coding? How much of their day is meetings? All these things, and this might help dictate what path you want to take, even if software development is the path you want to take. But that's your first connection into networking, and just reaching out will make you more comfortable to reach out to more other people and network more and more, and further push you to get a job. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. This is my suggestions of what you should learn first. I have this little tidbit saying programming languages are like cars. Old cars work just fine, but everyone wants the brand new one. And that's the same thing with programming languages. We have older languages that work just fine, such as C Sharp, Java, C++, even C. Those can solve many problems today, but there's always a hot language on the market. And those things include React.js, Rust, Go. These are very hot languages, but don't learn them just because they're hot. Learn them because there's a demand in the market that you're located in. So I suggest to learn JavaScript. The reason why is statistically 63% of developers use JavaScript in their jobs, at least on a weekly basis. And that means that JavaScript will translate very well statistically to any job. Another reason why I suggest JavaScript is it's very uh, light on syntax compared to other languages that are typed heavy. And you can use JavaScript in almost everything: app development, web apps, REST APIs, and much more. Now, after you get a grasp of a language, I suggest that you build what's called a REST API. This retrieves data from a server, sends data to a server, deletes data, and updates data. Then you want to connect this API to a SQL server or a SQL database or a NoSQL database. And this will help house your data that is connected to your REST API. And then after you do this, you want to build out a front end that exposes those endpoints through your API and will allow you to send data, read data, and update it, and even delete it. This is super important because that is a full tech stack. Once you are able to do that, that's the front end, the back end, and the servers, the SQL side of things, which is included in the back end. But you can break those things out in that area. There's typically, you got a front end and a back end, and you break them down even further, where you have your business logic using some programming language, and then it's being housed in some database, whether it's SQL or NoSQL. That's typically how we store data, and we call data, manipulate the data, send it to the client, to the front end, so they can view it and use it how they choose. And being able to do that as one of your first portfolio projects would be a big step in getting closer to that software developer job. I want to thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out to know if you guys enjoy this content or not. I will be developing games and posting it on my itch.io page, which is at cosmicgamesstudio.itch.io. I'm planning on making a Twitter, so it's to be determined when that will happen. But I appreciate your time, and Cosmic Contender out.